In 1998, myself and my husband adopted a little girl called Zina from Russia, and I went into Russia a year after we adopted her to try and find the children that she had spent the previous 7 years with. It was my first time into an orphanage, and I wasn't totally unprepared for the poverty and the numbers of children. Bedroom conditions, there's 25, 30 children sleeping in a bedroom. Toilets were all broken, the smells were horrendous. Embarrassingly, we all had scarves over our mouths to try and cope with the smell, even though the children were around us. We had 85 boys in one block and no working toilets. Mattresses thrown out over balconies that had been soiled the night before, no regard to the children who had obviously done it. We got into discussions at a very early point with the authorities over there. I have to say, in fairness to them, they were very supportive. Their budgets were extremely low at the time. So we came home to Ireland and I got a wonderful group of people around me who were all like-minded, and we set about fundraising, doing all the things that housewives do. We had the coffee morning, we had anything we could do. We begged, borrowed, steal, anything we could do. So we did send out parcels for every child in the very beginning, all individually labelled. Every kid got a big box with their clothes for Christmas, their toys. Those initial parcels were the first smiles we began to see on the children's faces. Hortonova is a 7-hour drive from Moscow, so they are completely isolated from the outside world and in a lot of cases very institutionalized. We have completely turned that around in Hortonova. Our medical team said they had something called psychosocial deprivation, which was they were very small just from lack of love, lack of minding. And we put a medical plan in place to try and give the children back some of the love that they had been deprived of. We decided at Christmas time that we would bring Santa Claus in. The day we were in one of the orphanages, a little girl had been handed in and she sat on Santa's knee and she was shaking, and she was 3 years old, and the tears dribbled down the back of Santa Claus's beard. He wasn't able to cope with the situation at all. He found it extremely upsetting. Hortonova was our first project, and we decided not only to rebuild the buildings, but we decided to rebuild each child within the walls. We had 170 children there between the age of 6 and 16. Nobody had ever told those children before that they were worth anything. Nobody had ever told those children before that they were beautiful. One of the worst things that we've had to do over the years when the children's mother or father dies is to take the children to the funeral. In most cases, we're the only ones standing at the graveside with the children. We started a building programme. We had to replace bathrooms, we had to replace kitchens. We replaced all of the children's bedrooms. We had a design team of children working with the builders, which the Russians found extremely inappropriate at the time because they're so serious about everything. But I insisted that we had a design team. We definitely have built probably the best orphanage, I would say, in Russia. The children in Hortonova orphanage, I think the Russians tell us that they suffer with high self-esteem now, and I think it's very funny, but we looked at every single thing that affects the life of the child, and we have been working for the last 8 years on every single one of those children and rebuilding their lives. The girls designed their own hairdressing salon, and we've mirrors on the walls, and they have hair dryers, and they are in heaven. 2 years ago we started a leavers program, and all of our children now that leave go into flats, but they must go to college. At the moment, 18 of our children are in university, and in fact one of our boys is in his second year of law. It's probably the only orphanage that's actually getting children into university. There's 700,000 orphans. We're working with about 3,000 of them in the region that I work in. It's an enormous problem. We're totally committed to the children, and we just simply can't continue without help from people. We need financial assistance from people to continue the work we're doing.